Ciao, Juventini. Welcome back to the All Juve Cast channel, where it's all Juve all the time. We are fresh off the 3-1 victory against a relatively comfortable one. And here to cover it, we got Lucci, we got Anthony. And before we even get to that, you know who set the tone for yesterday? The ladies. The ladies getting it done. First leg, Coppa Italia, semifinal.
Boom!
And what an absolute thrashing!
There
Love.
was a couple goals in there, absolute beauties. There was one from like almost the byline. She cut it back before two defenders could cut it off. Tough to do.
Yeah, it was funny.
Beautiful
The
fishes.
last, I think, I could be wrong, but the last 10 minutes or something saw 3 goals total or something between the two teams. Like, it was crazy at the end there, just because we had a comfortable win. And then it was like 4-0, whatever. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we can kind of check out of this game. And then all of a sudden 5-0, 6-0. I think it was 7-0 and one goal got called back or something. And then 6-1 final. I could be mistaken on that, but there's a ton of goal interchanges right at the end. But fantastic job for the women. Okay. Massive props to them. They set the tone for the men to go out and get the job done against Sampdoria, and we did. And now we're going to tackle that, and of course, everything in the aftermath. But let's get some of the housekeeping out of the way, guys. If you want to support the channel, whatnot, okay, there's a couple ways to do it. In the super chat donations, if you feel inclined to. Otherwise, stripechartsapparel.com. Okay, check out the latest designs from them, and that helps support the pod channel. And if you're checking it out on an audio outlet, get over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel. That's where all the magic happens. The live chats are amazing, and we've got a ton of video content, including keeping you up to date on the news. Now, let's get to the highlights, okay? Kick this thing off with the starting lineups for Juventus. Not really any surprise on the matchday live. We were kind of seeing if he would or wouldn't start Vlahovic. We kind of thought he probably would play him. I had no issue with him not. That was really the only change from the projected lineup that we were seeing the day before. Szczesny in goal, Danilo, De Ligt, Rugani, Pellegrini, with Luca, Artur, Rabiot, and Quadrado, Morata, Keane. Again, 3-5-2, going to be a 4-4-2 in defensive shell there, but no issues with the starting lineup, and fine whether you were going to play Vlahovic or without. I was fine either way. Lucci, Anthony, do you guys have any thoughts on Vlahovic resting or whatnot? I mean, he's had some hard shifts. What were your guys' thoughts? I had no problem with it.
Yeah, no, I was fine with him finally taking a break. He needs it. Champions League coming up, so I think it was the right move.
Yeah, excuse can be made either way. You know, he had a week off. He's young. He should be able to go. You know, I was totally expecting him to not start. When they say he wasn't starting, I knew he wasn't going to start, but I was totally expecting him to, you know, maybe work some rust off coming in 60, 65. I think that's when he actually ended up coming in. So I'm brilliant, obviously. And let's remember, Fiorentina absolutely stink. I didn't think they were that bad, but they're not a good football club. Especially when they have a bunch of players that are my age. That's a problem.
Sampdoria, yeah. Now, on that note, on Ants, they stink. Just out of curiosity, on the stink meter, where do they rank out of 10?
Well, I prefer to call it the abacus of stink. I thought they were like a 6, but they're a lot higher. I didn't realize they were that low in the table. Like, they're fighting relegation. So they might be a 7.6, buddy, on the abacus of stink.
7.6. Yeah. Okay.
They're down there.
There you go. Now let's get to the match highlights here. Kick it off. The first real run for Juve ends up in a goal, and it's pretty funny too, because you come out of it with 0 attempts and the 1-0 lead. But this is something that set the tone for how we were going to get after this one. And you can see Keane ended up being the target guy, and look at Morata in quick support there. Go ahead, Anth.
First one on this is another long ball. This is something that they've been doing the past couple games. We're like, what the hell are they doing? This was from Rugani, almost on the end line.
Yeah.
Just launching it up. And I think this is what they've been hoping the team would set up as. Instead of Vlahovic, you have Keane there. perfectly set up, just a chest ball down. You said during the live cast yesterday, he was trampolining everything off his chest, which was hilarious.
At the start, he was like a
st-
trampoline trying to settle
Right.
something. It was
Hilarious
crazy, but he
comment.
did dial it in.
But this was a perfect setup. Long ball, which we don't really like the long ball. But boom, chest down the Morata, and away we go.
Yeah, it seems like that's kind of what's going on. Obviously, is when we're in trouble at the back, they'll pump it up. They'll try to get it in the vicinity of our target guys, and even if it goes to the other team, whenever they get at the back, it gives us chance to get shape and whatnot. But this one, Keane settles. He actually does a great job of settling it. Morata's right there with him. He ends up picking it up and just carrying him. We're off to the races, and you could see that odd man rush here. Cuadrado ends up doing a great job covering a lot of space, getting up there. He gets himself into position, cross over. You see Keane making his run. He gets stepped on this player. Yoshida's the one that's kind of only one left in play, and Yoshida is the one that actually puts this Cuadrado cross in. So back-to-back own goal games for Cuadrado there. When you're that good, Lucci, you're shaking your head. When you're that good, you don't even have to shoot, man.
Just need some luck.
Put the puck on the net.
You just need some. Yeah, that's right. Put the ball towards the net. Never know what can happen.
You got her.
That one there.
That's going to come up a little bit later in this match too, and that's making something happen and not just stinting your own opportunities. Anth?
Was Keane going to get to that ball?
Yeah,
I think he would have gotten to it. If Yoshida doesn't get it, he gets to it. Yeah,
I think he'd have to slide. Actually, that's a good shot right there. Oh, he would have had to have slid to get that ball, but
yeah,
I still think he would have got it.
Yeah, Keane actually looked really. That was by far the best shift he's put in this season.
Absolutely,
Moise Keane.
Yeah, hard to argue with that one.
Yeah.
Now let's get to Sampdoria starts to come back after the goal. They get a little opportunity here. Sensi gets himself in a good spot, left-footed shot. He's got far post kind of up, but he decides to go short side, and Tech gets down quickly, makes a nice stop there. Then you have a beautiful ball from Locatelli that goes over the top. He sees Keane's run here. And it was great vision from Locatelli. Keane does well again to settle it. Like I said at the start, it was rocky trying to watch him settle things, but he got back into this one in a big way. Does good here against two defenders, and clumsy from Colley there. Starts riding him like a rented mule here, and gets the foul. Here we go. Up steps Morata, 2-0 Juve. Morata money from the spot there. I like it. Things are going good.
That was a hell of a PK, man. That was well put. Good. I don't want to foreshadow the other PK, but that's a good PK. The other one stunk. But go ahead.
And we're at it right now. Handball on Rabio. Candreva trying to get across there. You could see how adamant Candreva was about getting this call. Just stops completely, even though the ball's right there. So he's just wanting that call. Gets it after they do, little talking from upstairs. Points to the spot. Tech. Good save. Awful placement from Candreva, but still a big, big save. Regardless, anytime it's on goal, he still got to make save. And it's, man, he gets there. Like, he smacks it away. It's Candreva, you suck, man.
Hang on. Look at the difference of the PKs. Like,
I'll go back for you.
Morata's was a full almost 2 yards to the left. No goalie stopping that.
This screenshot, by the way, is also just after it hits like up here and starting to drop down. So he puts it like snug to the post. And if you look at Candreva's, I mean, he's not near the post whatsoever. The post is over here.
Now Tech is a big boy, but his arm didn't move. His hand didn't move 1 millimeter when the ball hit it. It stuck straight.
It's Candreva, man. He stinks. Now let's move on. Vlahovic, we talked about it, ends up coming in. I thought this was bizarre.
Yeah.
Not that he was coming in, but I would expect that Moise Keane is not going to start against Villarreal. So would you want Morata continuing and Vlahovic then come on? That was the only thing I found weird about it. Again, I didn't have a big issue with it or anything, but I found it kind of strange. Yeah. Lucci, did you feel the same way?
I thought that too, especially because Morata's going to play midweek, so you would want to give him some rest. He's played a lot too recently.
Yeah.
So there is something on that. when I was rewatching the game, yeah, Alex, rewatch the game. We watch them twice, buddy. So the sideline commentator, I had to watch it a couple times. Apparently, Allegri was asking Morata, "Are you tired?" And he's like, "No, I'm good to go." So he's like, "Okay, I need you to work more then." So
good.
So I think there was there was some sort of dialogue there between Allegri and Morata if he was coming off. So I think it was up in the air if it was going to be Keenan Morata.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes, you can attest to this too, Lucci. Somebody's asking you, "Are you tired?" Are you gonna even actually say that? Because I never want to leave games.
Yeah.
I've always been that way my entire life.
It's true. It's
So,
true. No.
At the end of the day, that's why you're the mister, right? But regardless, he makes that call. I don't have a huge issue with it. I just found it kind of strange. But we move on. Vlahovic here, shortly after entering, gets to this one, muscles off Collie there, and he's going up right here. I'm thinking just, have a rip. Have a rip. You've got Aguero coming in here slowly, but you could see what he tries to do on the next slide because he tries to feint that shot and cut in, almost like he thought Aguero would sell out on some type of slide or something. But he's so far away still, and he ends up causing himself issues, Vlahovic, and he's got nowhere to go in the end, and he ends up having a shot from like out here that's easily stopped. So thought maybe just rip it.
Was that a
rip
shot
it when you had that chance? What's that, Lucci?
Was that a shot or a cutback? Because it looked he was trying to cut back.
Yeah, he might have tried to cut it back, but
Locatelli.
again, at that angle, it's like, he kind of took his good spot away, and it wasn't the be-all, end-all. I think if he had played more in this match by that time that opportunity happens, he would have been more in.
That's what I was going to say.
More dialed, right?
First touch of the game, pretty much. He got in his head, overthought. Now, if that was Morata, I'd have Alex here absolutely crucifying him in the comments, like worst player ever. Why didn't he shoot it? Why didn't he pass it? So
true.
But since it's numbered 7, we're not going to say anything.
It's funny how, the more these guys join our live chats and the more us and they get to know us, we all start to kind of dial in on each other's players, who we like, who we don't like. And it's pretty funny. I love the banter. I like it. But nonetheless, nothing happens of this one. This scenario, though, that Vlahovic was in sooner and we were calling for the shot, this happened to Locatelli in the match. This happened to Cuadrado in the match. And it happened to a couple other guys where not necessarily shooting, but a cross that needs to be made or vice versa. I found one of my few frustrations with Juventus in this match was they were taking away opportunities from themselves when guys needed to put that cross in or have that shot and they didn't do it. And what ended up happening was we ended up recycling possession. And in a couple instances, we lost it and they came back at us with an opportunity. So it's better to have a shot. It's better to put a cross in than walk away with absolutely nothing. We saw Cuadrado with 2 own goals forced in this game and 1 in the last. It's better to do that than have absolutely nothing. Locatelli, in the scenario he got into, in my opinion, have a rip. Have the confidence to have a go. It's funny because you hear Locatelli in an interview talking about how, we have discussed as a team that we need to start creating more. Well, even beyond creating, first, you can't be cheap with possession. That was still an issue with Juventus in this one, cheap turnovers. But if you're in the opportunity to shoot, there's your chance. There's a chance. Even if Morata can get to a rebound, Keane can get to a rebound, have a go. So it's funny that you hear them talking about this, but they get there on the pitch and they still don't shoot. And that's been like an epidemic through the years here of watching like Bentancur or all these mids that are coming up. Shoot the damn ball. Locatelli, I expected a shot from him, to be honest.
See, the art of the actual, some people call it the toe blast, toe punt, that little Ronaldinho was awesome at it, right? It's just like Locatelli's chance when he's tried to force it into Vlahovic near the end of the game. That just need like a toe poke towards the goalie. Like you just put it on net. I think you're 100% right. I wouldn't say we're wasting chances, but sort of.
Well, you're not even getting a chance because you're not shooting.
Yeah.
When you get into that spot,
it is a wasted
right?
chance.
So, yeah. But nonetheless, we move on here. You have a free kick earned by Sampdoria. My God, you couldn't have placed it any better with your hand after this ricochet off Morata's back.
Hat trick,
And
baby. Morata
when
hat
you're
trick.
on, you're on. Morata was on. He put
He
one
was
off
on
his
all
back
of
in our own goal. So, yeah, wild deflection. Chesney had taken a step over to where the ball was going to go. Hits Morata's back and bloops over. Never going to get to that. Never going to get to that. Now it's 2-1. Interesting stuff. But you have Locatelli right here towards the end. Puts a money cross to the back post to Morata, who heads it in, goes off the keeper in the goal. 3-1. Let's go. We move. Another 3 points. And we're off to see what's going to happen if we can put some pressure on the guys up top. We saw Milan get the job done against Empoli there in a very, very tight match. Now we'll see what the others do, but we continue our unbeaten run. Now, we can talk about, everything and just kind of dissect this one. There's a lot of different feelings on what we saw in this one. For me, my quick summary is the building blocks and the foundation have finally been laid, and I can see it. Yep. And for me, it's quite clear. And I know that there's frustrations with Cuadrado and Danilo for some Juventini, but for me, that's the best right side we've seen. Yeah. I go with that. Locatelli and Artur, I'm locked in on that as well in the middle. And there is a bit of a sacrifice in playing the way we did with Morata, being that semicircle of support around using a different target guy. Keane, and next time it'll be Vlahovic, no doubt. But that's a sacrifice you need to make, and that position needs to play that way. You almost got to sacrifice the left side, because if you noticed in this one, a lot of the times Pellegrini would get the ball. He's got absolutely nobody to go with. And
I thought he had a good game.
Yeah, he still did fine, but like I said, we are predominantly right side. And one of those reasons is how we use Morata in this one. But I would much rather have that partnership play that way and sacrifice a little bit on the left side just to continue moving forward. That's what I saw. That was my brief summary. Let's get Lucci's and then Anthony's, and then we'll get into player ratings on this one.
Yeah, I thought this was one of our better matches this season, although, albeit Sampdoria, but Pellegrini played well. Artur played well. Again, Rabiot is a frustrating player. We all know that, but he wasn't one of his better games this year too. I got to say, unfortunately, but
fortunately, it's a good thing.
Because his best game was still not good enough, so it's still unfortunate. Morata was good. Keane, again, we said at the beginning that one of probably his best game this season. And we move. Champions League. Let's go.
There you go. Ant?
Game notes. I would say that the first half was probably our best half of the calendar year of 2020. The way we played, I would say that was our best complete, consistent half. Turnovers were down, or if we did have a turnover, it was in their end. Didn't really hurt us. Again, let's just take all the grain of salt. Lucci, you're right. It is Sampdoria. We had maybe the whole game, maybe 10 or 12 bad passes, but some of those, like the receiver went under his foot, like things you can just really avoid. I haven't seen Allegri that active in a first half yet this year. Yeah. He was he was all around that technical area that first half. It was pretty wild. Counterattacks, perfect. In the second half, you didn't highlight it, Al, but it was about the 57th minute, that sequence. There was a sequence of passing, like short passes that we haven't seen in a while. And it ended up with Keane with that sort of outside break where he tried to chip the keeper and he came out, he slid out and saved it with his hand. He couldn't quite get it over. If anyone could go back and watch that was the crispest sequence of passing I've seen our team make in a while. Like it was kind of on the outside.
And it comes from the right side, which some Juventini had issues again on the right side, but it's working with Danilo and Quad. Is it perfect? No. But and here's my issue with that right side. The only issue I think is because Cuadrado is, you got to remember, he's been right back for us for how long now? 3 seasons?
Most of this season too, right? Well,
no,
a lot of
last season he was right back.
Yeah,
like right wing back, whatever. The season before that, he was right back all season. He's so used to playing with the ball at his feet. Okay. And you could see it in sequences in this one. Danilo was fantastic in this one, and he did a great job. And he was huge for us beating the press, because we actually multiple times on multiple occasions played through Sampdoria's press quite nicely. And we went from one corner all the way to the opposite flank, and then we're moving up the pitch. That's exactly how you want to do it. And Danilo was big for that.
Mhm.
In the attacking phase, Danilo would always look. He would look to Quad if he had that, but Quad and him remain so tight because I think Quad's still not 100% used to this whole scenario. But when Danilo was making his passes forward to either Keane, sometimes Morata, sometimes he'd hit the midfielder and it would be Locatelli. Quadrado needs to get in behind that defense and attack that space to give those guys somebody to outlet to. And he only did it on a couple occasions and he wasn't rewarded, but he didn't do it at all for many, many occasions. And if we can get that sequence kind of dialed in, we can really put teams under and put them under a lot of duress. But again, I think you just have a player that's so used to playing with the ball at his feet. Again, it'll grow in time or whatnot, but nobody can say, I'm confident in saying this, that isn't our best right side setup.
And it's 2 games, almost 2 or 3 games in a row where we've used essentially the same formation. So there's a bit of consistency happening, which was nice. And let's not kid ourselves. Sampdoria would never really threatened. It was, I know Alex put in here, someone put in here that in the comments that we were stuck in second gear. We didn't need third gear.
Yeah, this was relatively comfortable, regardless of a point in the match where it got to 2-1. There wasn't a whole lot of bite out of Sampdoria, and Quagliarella looked pretty bad. I mean, Sensi was the only one that looked like he had a little bit of drive to him. Outside of that, not a whole lot of threats. Pretty comfortable win. And then you have the question coming up from a lot of Juventus. We'll get to this last one before we get into player ratings. Should he have subbed the young guys in? And again, this just will always circulate with Juventini and whatnot, is getting the young guys. Why couldn't they get minutes in this one? Well, it is still a 1-goal lead at that point because of that goal allowed. And I think it's safe to say at this point, the points are so crucial. Max I don't think he has the trust in them seeing one out. I'll just say it. I don't think he has the trust in the young guys. Is it right or is it wrong? At the end of the day, I don't really care if we get the win. To be honest, I'm at that point right now where these points are so crucial. Do what you got to do. Get out of there with a win. Could the young guys have gotten a minute in there? In this last one, it wouldn't have been many minutes anyways, to be honest, because you wanted to see that one out. By the time Morata adds the third, is there really a point there? Lucci, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought if they stayed up 2-0, or if it was a bigger score, I would have seen it happening. But at 2-1, you can't really take that chance. Although, like you said, Sam didn't really pressure us too much after they made it a one goal game. So I expected it at that point.
I know.
Yeah, but the Sandro change, if you put a young guy in there, it's a problem. It could be a problem. Even though Sandro, everybody has issues with Sandro, but Sandro is a player who's going to understand what his role is coming into a 2-1 game. He's not going to do anything. He's going to stick to his job on the left-hand side, hopefully. Max is obviously going to have more trust in him than putting a young player in there. I didn't have a problem with it. I'm with you, Al. 3 points, buddy.
And I'm kind of just to piggyback off what Ant is saying too. I think we have to remember it's one thing to say when Sandro comes in and steps in as a midfielder, which he did in this last one. But he was fine. He was fine from when he came in and whatnot. There was no issues there. But a big thing people have to think about too is that because of the recent injuries, the young guys got brought up and weren't actually there for quite a bit of time. Everybody's making shouts for Moretti. Moretti hasn't been there long enough to probably understand some of the transitions in that play. So maybe that's why the confidence isn't there for Max. And again, Sampdoria didn't add that goal until like the 84th minute, if I'm correct, if I can remember correctly. So why, if they make that sub sooner, maybe it's a little bit of more stress on those young guys if they're in there and all of a sudden it's 2-1, right? As opposed to if it goes 2-1, you got Sandro in there. I could kind of see it from Max. So I don't think it's a be-all, end-all. At the end of the day, you have to get the 3 points. So if you feel confident in those guys, hey, it worked yesterday, let's move on. So let's not continue to go with the young guys thing. I think honestly, in general, we're at the point now where I always see these young guys. It's great to get minutes like Golpa and earlier on in the season in certain matchups. If you're doing well, we've been chasing the whole season. And I think that kills the minutes for these young guys. And it could be a different story if we were in a different position and spot. I still say, one young guy here and there is okay. But right now, we've got 9 games left. It's going to be up to these guys. We've played 29 matches in Serie A. It's going to be up to these guys. And unfortunately, the young guys just won't get them now. It's crunch time, right?
The one thing I'll say about the young guys is, and maybe what people don't understand, under 23s, it's not like, oh, I'm going to go from under 23s to Serie A in terms of, I can play in the Serie A. You can't even go, you can barely go from Serie B to Serie A as a player. Like the level change is so great that, oh yeah, these young guys, this guy's lighting up under 23s. Who gives a shit? If a player isn't up to snuff, like he could totally break down a whole system if he's not you have to be sharp. Like you look at some of these European players who come out of the MLS. We all know the MLS stinks, but you can see the sharpness, right? Of like the different levels of leagues. Like don't just assume.
Everyone has to take into consideration that our U23s they don't play like our senior team does. That setup, that system, they don't play that way.
Right? That's huge.
And that's a whole separate discussion too. Should your U23s should we all adopt that same style? Do you guys remember when Spain went on that crazy tear for that 6-year period or whatever, or 8-year period, whatever, when they were on fire like that, from youth to their senior team to whatever, it was the same style embedded in all those guys. Like that's a whole different scenario. But one thing to consider with these young guys, kind of to Ant's point, they don't play in the same system and setup. That takes time too. So regardless, we got the job done. So it's hard to knock
let's be
Max
happy
for anything.
Be happy, Lucci. Come on, man.
Hey, man, I'm happy. I didn't say nothing.
Now, let's get to some player ratings. Okay. We'll pull these up and see where we're at here. There was a couple of shouts. And again, this is a great sign. When you can have multiple guys that you're looking at for man of the match, that's a good sign, right? And people want to downplay. This is the funny thing. We get the job done. We look probably the best we have all season. And then it's Sampdoria. Yeah, but you know what? Don't give me that, because we've played weak sides and look like absolute dog shit too. So just take it. It's there. I've said for a couple weeks now, I feel like Max is very, very close to something that could be actually strong. But there's no doubt in my mind, this team is it's just more solid right now than it has been in a long time. Would you guys agree with that or disagree?
Yeah, I would agree.
We're getting there, man. Like, let's just get a little bit of consistency. Even so, with the injuries, is forcing Max to play consistent players.
The thing, what does Dybala do different to change this team when he comes back?
Hold on.
I'm just asking.
Player ratings. Don't worry. We'll get there. Easy.
It's a good question.
We're gonna get there.
Rein them in. Whoa, big Nelly.
Whoa, Lucci coming out. It just holy shit. Didn't even have that gun holstered. Just had it.
What about Dybala?
Ready to unload. Okay, player rating. Tech 7. Solid match and 2 big stops, and 1 was on a PK in the talks for man of the match.
Yep.
Okay. Pellegrini 6. Gets under the other team's skin. Absolutely love it how he plays that way.
Yeah.
Rugani a 6. Could have been 6.5. Continues to look really, really good, especially next to Delict.
Man, I'm happy for him.
We're talking about partners bringing in here or whatnot. Is Rugani even an issue? Maybe we just bring. Got Gatti signed. Who knows? See
how he plays in Champions League this week.
Delict 6.5. He's a unit.
Could have been a 7.
Danilo 6.5. Solid right side with quad. and congrats on 100 appearances for Juve.
Mhm.
Quad 6, mixed bag, but overall still
Yep.
it all runs through him and Danilo and Luca in this one.
Mhm.
So yeah, good showing. Artur, man, got him at 6.5 to 7, whatever. Finished with a 7. Another strong showing from Artur, man. He was
Probably a
in the
7.
talks for man of the match too.
Mhm.
Again, I don't understand the continued fear of many Juventini with this guy and what we have to sacrifice defensively. His
Yeah,
work
Joe
rate's incredible.
Cappuccino.
He was solid. He was solid. Lucci, Artur.
I thought it was probably his best game. Yeah, honestly, again, Sampdoria, we're gonna keep saying that, but definitely his. I thought he retained possession well, made some good passes. Yeah, definitely the best game I can remember him playing as a Juve player.
Yeah, he was pulling the strings quite nicely. Locatelli. There was a typo on this one. It was supposed to be 6.5. We got some flack on that, rightfully so, because it shouldn't have been a 6, but it went in as a 6. I missed a 0.5. Okay, crucify me. It's all good. Listen, some were raving about Locatelli's performance in this one. I think it was good.
It was
But
good.
again, 6.5 I think is where it tops because there was a lot of we can't forget he lost the ball more than Artur with almost 20 less touches than Artur. So there was a lot of cheap turnovers that actually came from Locatelli. But overall, his vision still continues to shine through, and it shows why you need to build off that. And Artur and Locatelli need to remain in this midfield.
There was one. Is Locatelli a left footer naturally?
No,
or right?
he's a right footer, and he tried to do a left-footed switch,
That's the one I was
standing
going to bring
still.
up. Yeah,
And it was like, what are you doing?
he tried to get it way over to quad. He didn't make it. I was like, ooh.
So Alexei and Luca, 6 for him wasn't stellar. So I think 6 is a little too low, and the reason was because we gave Rabiot a 6.
Yeah,
6.3.
And our Rabiot should have probably. Well, I think 5.5 would have been harsh for Rabiot. We went 6 for Rabiot because, again, I feel like this game is a lot of games in general for Rabiot. Good in one half, and all of a sudden becomes clumsy and lazy in another one, but he fades in and out of matches. He has these blackouts, as I call them, where sometimes I feel like he doesn't even remember that he's in a match or something. Like, it's like, dude, he just crumbles. So regardless, he gets a 6. That's why Locatelli should have been 6.5. Keane, 6.5. Good showing.
Probably his best game this year.
Yeah, 6.5. Very active. Did well as a target.
Good
one
call,
of his
Lucci.
best showings, no doubt.
Yeah.
Morata, 7.5. He gets man of the match. Incredibly active. Did fantastic in support of Keane. Had some execution issues on passing here and there, but again, a lot of guys did. At the end of the day, he bags the brace. And he's our man of the match. Deschilio, not applicable. Sandro, 6, came in late, played the middle, didn't hurt us. Vlahovic, 5.5. Came in, didn't look as sharp on a couple sequences, but doesn't matter because we're going to be having eyes on him on Wednesday in the Champions League. So there's the ratings. Guys, I had Morata as my man of the match. Lucci, did you have anybody other than Morata as your man of the match?
Yeah, hard to argue that. Danilo was solid too. De Ligt. You could either any of them really, but Morata deserves it.
There you go. Ant, did you have someone other than Morata as your man of the match?
I had to go with the top 3. I think we haven't given De Ligt enough love today. That guy was an absolute, like you put in the prediction, he was an absolute unit yesterday. Nothing went past him, over him, beside him, near him, right? If it was within a 6-yard radius, it was his, which is what you want your center back to be. And all these calls for like, oh, he's not quite a world-class player yet. Like, can we just change that now? Like he's there. He's got to be there. He's got to be in the discussion anyways. Number 2 for me was Tech, like the big man. Still people are calling for Pedin to start over him. Can we just – Pedin's a great goalie, but come on, let's just can we stop that?
Tech was good, but those are saves you expect a good goalkeeper to make. Let's be serious.
Well, the peak, stopping
the
PK.
first one low
The
and hard
one,
on Sensi. Yeah, you would expect that to be made.
But he was owning his box yesterday. Like there was nothing.
He
like,
dropped
was grabbing
one. That's not true. He dropped one.
Well, he dropped a couple, but also
Yeah.
those players seem to not get out. They didn't allow him. Like Rugani headed
Goddamn
one
haters.
out. Delict headed
You're a
one
hater,
out while he
Lucci.
was coming out.
Don't shrug your shoulders at me, kid.
Anyways,
Anyways,
got to give you a slack or what?
yeah, I know it's always got to be you, isn't it? But yeah, I'm gonna go with Morata for my my man of the match.
After all that,
yeah.
you went to the same answer. All right,
That's right.
thanks.
That's right.
Okay, so yeah, a little bit of a runaround just to end up at the same spot. So
That's right.
took a detour. We took a detour on that one. I'm glad you guys started to get into it on tech because I'm gonna probably let you guys go on this one. Is he massively underappreciated by Juventini?
Tech? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah. He's just too inconsistent for me. I don't know. There's something
What?
with him that just makes.
Ooh, has he been inconsistent though
Well, he
since
started-
that rocky start?
And we can't forget last season, he wasn't great either. He's been good recently. Don't
Okay,
get me wrong.
hold on. Consistency. I'm talking like we can't go like one season and then to another season to say inconsistent. Like,
Fair.
I mean, this season, outside of the rocky start, has he not been consistent?
Yeah, he has, but he's also made saves that you would expect a good goalkeeper at Juventus to make. Like he's not like he's saving anything within the 6-yard box or doing something spectacular. Yes, he's made some good saves, but again, you expect him to make those saves.
People talk like, oh, let's just replace Tech.
I never said.
So here's
that.
the thing: you have a
Yes,
team
you are.
that doesn't
You're saying that he's just a
score
good goalie
many
that-
goals.
He's a goalie
he
that
doesn't score many goals, and he has made some point blank stops that held results for us and held points for us. So it's tough to it's tough to say that. Tough to say that.
I'm
don't
just
know.
saying when you call him a good goalie can be replaced by a bag of balls.
Okay. But but the question was, do you feel he's underappreciated? No, I don't feel like he's underappreciated. I think he's good. He's a solid goalkeeper, but sometimes he leaves me a little worried.
I just want to get back to this right here. Out completing 2 passes all game. Morata completed 41 passes.
41
one
passes
of them being
for
key.
Jesus,
And
Alexander.
2 goals.
87%.
Sorry, Alex. I know
Yeah.
how you feel about Morata. Remember what I said earlier? It's funny when you get to know people and you get to know which players they're into, which ones are not. Alex, leave Morata alone. Leave
One
him
more
alone.
thing, Alex. One
Leave
thing
him
for
alone.
you. 12 ground duels, and
Okay.
he won 8 of them, by the way.
So,
So it's on the
Tech.
stats. You get one of these smartphones. You
He's
can look
booked
it up
with
real
us
quick.
till 2024. Okay, he'll be 33 in 2024. Now, the funny thing is this whole Donnarumma thing and Juve keeping tabs on him. Man, we had the opportunity, and now what are you going to do? Go and buy him from PSG? Like it's kind of done and dusted, unfortunately. But I mean, there's no doubt in my mind they're keeping tabs on it, but that ain't going to be pretty to try and make that move now. So regardless, I still find it extremely interesting that if Mattia Perin does in fact extend, and you're safe to even keep Tech the whole way out on his contract.
Would you send Tech the other way for Donnarumma?
100%.
What's that?
Would you send Tech the other way for Donnarumma? But you're gonna have to add money in there.
Never gonna happen.
If they're willing to do it, for sure.
You send
with
him over,
money.
you know how much money that would still take? There's quite a gap there.
I don't see it happening, but for sure.
But is there a money value like Tech and 60 million?
Well,
Tech
this
and
is
80
my
million?
question to you guys. Being
Danny
that
would
we're
do it.
talking about a player that
100%.
apparently is underappreciated by Juventini. Do you wait for that contract to run out and you have Perin as your second? Gives you a little bit of breathing room before you have to think about goalkeeper, or do you look to move Tech before it runs out? Like, what are you trying to do?
Don't need it. We don't need to do it right now.
He's 31 right now. He's going to be 33 by the time the contract runs out.
I'm still really thrown off by Perin wanting to stay or considering re-signing.
It's weird. It's a weird one.
At the beginning of the year, he said he wanted to leave as soon as possible. Now he wants to stay. I don't mind Perin. Do I think he's as good or better than Tech? Probably not. But it's always good to have a good second option, right?
Maybe he found a nice flat in Torino there, which was like hard to get, and he doesn't want to give up the lease.
And he's getting paid well. Like, why not?
You find it like ask Joe Cappuccino. He's looking for a place to live, I think. So
Joe Cappuccino's gonna live in a shoebox soon.
We can't even get Joe Cappuccino to not show up on the show without a bathrobe on. Mohammed, guys, sorry for being a bit late. Did I win my stickers?
Oh, good question.
Well, Mohammed, I tallied these up, and
he had to have won. You guys stink. He had to have won.
He got
Look,
one
on the pod yesterday.
point.
Wasn't us.
He got 1 point, 2 points out of everything. 2 points out of everything on your predictions, Mohammed.
Don't tell me you won.
Unfortunately, that was not
Omer.
enough to win. But, you know, it pays to be part of the AJC community. And I'm an amazing guy, a great guy. So I'm going to give you the stickers.
Oh,
okay.
What a guy. Let's go.
Okay, reach out,
Let's go.
Mohammed, and we're going to give you that sticker set. Okay, you did nail the final score, so congrats to that. And really, we don't need to talk about the winner because, it's
it wasn't Luca, was it?
At the end.
No.
Yeah.
Now we're never
I know. Now we're going to have to hear about that for another month until he can get his sorry ass on a show again. Anyways, congratulations, Mohammed. Reach out to us on Twitter or just the email, alljuvecast@gmail.com. We'll get it.
Next time, buddy. Next time, my friend.
Now,
of course, you want me on it. That's right.
Why?
Mohammed, let's go. Where do I reach you? Twitter's the easiest, my friend. Twitter is the easiest, okay? So we talked about tech, and it's a weird scenario there. The Perrine one's throwing everybody for a loop, and makes sense because, you just didn't expect he wants more minutes. Now let's get to I was talking about building blocks, foundations are set. Locatelli and Artur. Luca just in there like dirty shirt. Fuck. Okay. Locatelli and Artur. When Zakaria becomes fit, does that have to make up our three-man midfield? Do you guys have a fear that Allegri will back away from the Locatelli and Artur combination once Zakaria is fit?
Go ahead, Lucci.
I think this week, this Champions League match will be a big notion in which way he chooses. If it's going to keep that duo together or he's going to take him out. Because once Zakaria comes back, it's what are you going to do with Rabiot? Someone's got to come out. So I think if they play well, I would keep it. I would keep it going. I would assume Max feels the same. We need to win practically every game. So
can we get a timetable when he's going to be back? Like how many games?
Zakaria was 20 days from when he was injured there, and I think he's like
it's been a couple weeks already.
He's close to a couple weeks.
So we're looking at there's 8 games left in the league, I believe. So he's going to be available for probably 6 games, maybe 6, somewhere around there. 6 league games.
I guess it depends.
Somewhere. Let's just call it 6. Do you want to upset the apple cart for 6 games? Right?
Yeah.
I don't see him as a bench player.
I see him as a bench player for at least 2 or 3 of those games, and then. And then what are you going to do? Like if we lock up 4th with 3 games to go, then all hell's going to break loose with the lineup. I think Allegri is going to try everything, but I don't think you're going to see Rabiot come off the field for the foreseeable future,
which is ridiculous.
Because he's available. He's a healthy body. He gives you 90 minutes week in and week out.
But he runs like this and he gives PKs like it's
okay.
nothing.
Listen, that could happen to anybody.
One was pretty unfortunate.
But I'm just saying, what hate him or like him or whatever. Rabiot is healthy.
Yes,
he's
you
healthy.
are 100% correct. He is gone in the
for
summer.
me, it's got to be Arthur, Luca, and Zach. Once Zach gets back, like I see that as the main. But again, it's not going to be the be all end all. But the biggest thing is, I don't think you can go away from Locatelli and Artur. Do we all agree on that one?
Not anymore.
You just can't, from what we've seen. I mean, Locatelli's vision, and when he gets forward, he also did a lot of good runs on the right side when Quad, we talked about it, wasn't attacking that space. Who was it that started doing that? It was Locatelli. And he had one sequence where he poked the ball past his defender and actually just ran beyond him. And again, end product we talked about, and Cross would not. It's a little tough. He slipped that one through that Anthony talked about. We didn't have it on the highlight reel. Keane just didn't chip it over the keeper enough. That was another Locatelli through ball.
And
so
the PK, wasn't that because of him?
the PK was Locatelli over the top to
Yeah.
Keane, and then Keane settled it and had to battle two defenders, and then
Could had 3
probably
assists
jumped
yesterday.
him. But yeah, it's
Sounds like me.
That pairing absolutely has to stay together. Quick reminder to everybody, like the video while you're here. Okay, if you're new, subscribe to the channel. Now, Artur.
Peacock.
We got to get into Artur. Artur's been so good for quite a bit of time now, consistently. Okay, Luca, yeah, I know.
You think I'm bad with Morata?
So,
you guys should hear Luca in the chat.
Should he be sold? Do we need to look at replacing him based on what he's been doing?
Lucci?
Well, this is where I get a little confused, or not confused, but I think about this.
It happens.
Because a lot. If you bring in the likes of, we see the Jorginho name getting dropped all the time, Gravenberch, so on and so forth. You bring in these guys, and even Pogba for that matter, Artur's going to be on the bench. He's not going to be starting at all, really. So you're going to pay you're going to pay someone that much just to be a depth player. It doesn't make sense. Like, if you can upgrade your midfield, which we need to do, he's expendable. Is he not? Like, you can't afford to pay someone that much.
Here's the thing, though. He's going to be a tough sell. He's going to be a tough move based on those numbers. So do you even go that route? If he's number one, going to be hard to move. And number two, he's not an issue right now. Like, he's playing very, very well.
But
okay, go ahead, Lucci.
Sorry, for one or two guys to come in, one or two got to go. Is that not a given? So who else are you going to move? It's not going to be Locatelli.
My thing with Artur is and I fully agree with young Lucci here. Who would be? That's
going to get
who? Yeah, I know.
Sorry, carry on.
Who would be Arthur's backup or does Rovella play that spot? Help me out.
Well, here's the thing.
Right?
Rovella can be, that rotation to one of those players.
So Rovella's coming back. Hang on. Rovella's coming back.
About bringing in two players, Luch.
Yes.
You're talking about bringing in two. My whole question is, we need a driving midfielder more than anything. So why even start to go, like, if you need a left back, we need a left back. We potentially need another striker. You need a driving midfielder. Now all of a sudden we have to look for a replacement for Artur when he's playing good on top of these other spots.
Well, I just say this because if they're really apparently strongly considering Jorginho, he's going to take over Artur's spot, right? You're not going to
100% he will, but do you just, rather than doing that, bolster other spots that you need? We need wingers too. Everybody needs to remember we need wingers.
But Joey's not coming.
Yes, you definitely need other areas, no doubt. Maybe even a center back, who knows? But
exactly. So now all of a sudden, that's what I'm saying. If you're throwing in all this, okay, center back, because Chiellini might be done after this year.
Yeah,
we're all expecting that, right? Chiellini might be done. We still have to wait to see how some of these contract renewals go as well, right? Because all of a sudden, if these guys aren't there, you have to find players for these other potential players as well. Quadrado's probably going to get done. Bernardeschi's probably going to be moving out. Again, more players that you need to bring in. We need wingers, need a center back, need a left back, need a driving midfielder. If Artur is not a problem, do you even look for a solution?
No, but you're right. But it depends who the easiest player is to bring in, does it not?
Okay, we're unbeaten in 15 games. I'm just going to say this for a second. Has left back been a problem in 15 games?
When Sandro's out there,
but he hasn't been there. Like it hasn't been a bright spot for errors. The left back in 15 games. There's been some small issues, but Pellegrini's been playing well when Lord Deschilio is out there. Like, is it that much of a problem? Like, does that need to be like?
Here's the thing: one guy's leaving though. Sandro's going to be done, so you have to have somebody to come in for that. Danilo's locked himself where he is now. Deschilio can offer some cover to both sides.
Yeah.
We've laid the foundation right now.
I
truly believe it. Quadrado ahead of Danilo. Deschilio can offer you coverage on both sides. but then you have just Pellegrini,
Mm-hmm.
with DeShilio offering some coverage there. I still say you need a left back.
Yes, I agree.
So do you bring in a midfielder? Okay, let's get back to the midfielders. Do you bring in a midfielder before you release Arthur? It's going to be tricky. Like
For
Kitabini
sure.
and
No,
Liva
I'm
Banner.
saying find a driving midfielder and don't worry about an issue like that isn't there currently. Like,
gonna be tricky.
here's the thing. If you have these other positions, you bring in, I agree that there are options there that are upgrades on our tour. I agree with you 100% on that, Lucci. But the thing is, if you bring in that upgrade, you have our tour that you're probably only going to be able to manage alone on. So at some point, he's probably going to come back. And then on top of that, you've just taken money that you could apply
Like
to
a winger.
one of those other spots
Yep.
when it's not an issue. Like, what more does Artur need to really do? Like, he's proving that he can fill that role. He can be that player. And we just need to have somebody that can actually do something offensively next to him, which we haven't had for a long time. Locatelli can help. If you get another driving midfielder, now you have a whole different setup.
Well, I think if it's either one of, if Pogba, whatever, decides to come back, I'm not sure about that, or Gravenberch, then you leave Artur. You move out, I guess it would be Rabiot, the odd man out, would it not?
I think he's out anyways.
I think Rabiot's going to be he's going to be the main that goes
Yeah.
out. Artur is
Gotta
second to Rabiot on the outgoing.
But if Rovella comes too, and either one of Gravenberch or Pogba, who else? You're going to leave the whole midfield. You're going to have 7 midfielders?
You got to anticipate
When you play 3,
Bernardeschi
that's not a
resigning.
bad thing. 7?
But
You're
how much
playing
then
3.
worth having Rovella because he's hardly going to play?
See, I don't think that's the case, though.
No, you
I
think
don't
he'll
think
play?
that's the case. I think he'd still play a healthy amount.
Remember, we got
Healthy enough
Chiesa.
for him.
I'm with Al on this one. That the one thing that really stands out to me is what the hell is going to happen with Bernardeschi.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's going to be a replacement because you got Chiesa coming back, but let's not just assume he's going to come back and light it up. He's going to have
He's going to take time.
He's going to take time to ramp up. But that Bernardeschi deal, if that doesn't get done, I think they're going to try and replace that before they go for left back.
Ooh. So you say Sandro stays?
Well, no, but I think they're going to focus more on getting that winger, to Al's point, before they start working.
There it is. Done.
All right.
For 40 million?
It's just an interesting scenario. This it's tough. Look at us trying to break this thing down. It's interesting, but Artur,
1, 2, 3, 4.
Credit to Artur because we're actually having this discussion. So that's a massive feather in his hat based on how he's been playing.
Thomas with some fighting words here.
Oh,
listen,
jeez.
He wants to go with the Rovella. Against the Rovella Hive. Go right ahead, Thomas.
I gotta see it in Serie A, man. I gotta see it in Serie A. That's just how I remain.
Rovella Hive about to
I gotta see it. Gotta see it. Now,
Raph is with him too.
Danilo and Quad on the right side of lock for me. What happens, in your opinions, once Dybala comes back? What happens? Where does he fit in when Dybala comes back?
No comment, Danny.
See, this is my concern. You're gonna mess up everything you have going on right now to fit Dybala. Is it worth it? Is he gonna prove that he deserves his 10 million and actually play, or is he just gonna
7 plus bonus,
whatever, screw around and do whatever? Leave him on the bench.
It's hard to argue with Danny on that one. It's hard. Dybala's our best player, but where does he? Where does
if
he
you're
fit?
Gonna do it, my 2 cents is if you're gonna do it, it's a change up only to one of the 2 forwards.
Yes.
Quadrado's locked himself on the right side with Danilo. That's a go-to. So it really only leaves 2 spots for Dybala, and that's one of the tops. You have to have a target man based on how we want to play. Dybala, if he can play how Morata did, then he takes Morata's spot.
But he can.
But is that going to be Morata as of late? Here's the biggest question. Can Morata keep up the way he played yesterday? Because if he can play in that manner in supporting fashion, can Dybala also play in that manner in the supporting fashion? I don't really know, because here you have a classic scenario of what we were talking about, some of the frustrations with Cuadrado. He's a player that has to have ball to feet. Dybala is a ball at the feet player. Can he do that role as good as Morata did? Hey, I don't know. Okay. But
Listen, you know
right
me.
now, it's tough. It's tough. I think that's the only spot he could fit in. And I don't want to get into switching setups to fit him in right now, because it's rolling. It's rolling along nicely.
You can't deny that Morata's been a different player since Vlahovic has showed up. You can't deny it. And we all expected it. We all knew that Morata is not a number one guy. He's a number two guy. He does all sort of like, he likes to do like the grunt work. He's not a target man. He cleans up messes, and that's what he is. He is our leading Serie A goal scorer right now.
So Suarez's throwing out different formations and whatnot. I stand behind kind of what I said. I don't want to get into changing the setup from something that has made us look even more solid and look better than we have in quite some time. I don't want to get into that just to fit him in. He can either play the supporting role like Morata did, and if he can't do it, then for the better of the team, it's tough. And this is a tough discussion, because you're talking about, like Ant said, one of our best players. Again, I don't know if I switch it up. We've only got 9 remaining Serie A matches, but again, he is one of our best. You have to look to get him in. For me, I drop Morata, give him a go with Vlahovic, and hopefully, I don't know if here's the next question, I guess. Bonucci, Chiellini, Dybala, potentially fit for Villarreal. Do you play any of them?
I play Chiellini.
Really?
None of them.
I don't think you play any of them.
I don't. You don't. Only. Okay, go ahead, Dan.
I was just gonna say, like, as much as Rugani's been very good lately. Sorry, I know that was bad. You feel more comfortable when Chiellini's there. It's just a different back line, different player, captain, leader, so on and so forth.
100% agree.
It's hard
100%
to say not to play Chiellini, but
coming off the injury,
yes,
I don't know.
That's the only concern.
That's the only reason.
I know.
He just back. Throw him in there on that. I know it's tough to go against Chiellini. I mean,
because the thing
heart's
with Chiellini
telling
is,
you just do it.
Yeah.
The thing with Chiellini is, how many games has he come back from injury and then he gets pulled off in the 15th minute?
True.
It's happened quite a bit. So,
and I hear these concerns about there's no way keeping Dybala on the bench. He scores and creates more, and he should play behind Morata and Vlahovic. But then you're making a sacrifice
on quad
to get him in there that helps us tremendously, because then you're breaking up that right side. And honestly, it's a big deal as to how we played through and out of the press.
So, a couple things. You said for Dybala to cover Morata on the left side. First of all, we know Dybala prefers
to play as a supporting forward off the target guy, like Morata did.
But you can't play quad and Dybala both off the right side.
Exactly.
So that's one problem. Second problem, if you change formations, someone's got to come out. It'll most likely be quad if you change to a 3-man midfield. That creates another problem. So it just seems like you're creating too many problems to fit Dybala when you got things somewhat moving, smoothly.
It's tough. It's tough. It's not. I see both sides. I clearly see both sides. I clearly see how it could be deemed crazy to think you're going to bench Dybala, right? But I guess we'll see, because if all of a sudden they try to fit him in there, I've been saying for a while, and I know, props to Alex who said it quite early on in the Trident's formation, that it was offset and it needs a winger. And we don't have, even when you play those 3 guys up top there's nobody that's going to take guys 1v1.
Yeah.
There's no threat of that. And number 2, you're losing a lot of pace from Cuadrado to Dybala. And those runs, like, it's different. It all changes. You'll see once Dybala comes back how drastically it'll change if Max goes with the Trident. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I wanted to get to that question. What happens when these players become healthy and come back? Do you quickly go to Villarreal? Now, going against Villarreal this Wednesday, How do you guys feel heading into this one right before we get to a quick Storm the Barn session? How do you guys feel going into this Champions League deciding second leg against Villarreal on Wednesday?
I'll go. So I'm most likely going to be on that pregame this week because I got nothing else to do. How do I put this? I do care. I really do care. I don't think we have a championship winning team. I think we have a Champions League team that's going to make it to the semifinal and give up a penalty shot in the second half, and overtime and lose. But
oh my God,
that's been my prediction all year. Check the tape. I want to win, and I know the whole guts are going to be turning on Wednesday anyways, but I'm really more focused on Serie A. If that's I'm kind of more focused on let's just get Serie A kind of wrapped up, and then Champions League. The deeper we go, the more money we get. Great, but I don't know. But I'll probably have a different tune on Wednesday. I feel okay, I guess.
I agree. I think we can pull out a win. It's Villarreal. Come on.
They stink. I think we'll win like 1-0.
Here.
What was the first leg?
1-1.
0-0. Was it 1-1?
Yes.
I think we'll pull out a 1-0 win. I don't think it's. Talk to me on Wednesday.
I agree, but I think next round is that we're.
It's different when the trophy's in the background. It's a lot different.
Al's not impressed with us right now.
Okay.
For those who don't know, we changed our clocks last night, so everyone's a little discombobulated.
Okay, here we go. We're going to win on Wednesday.
Probably.
Okay? We're going to move on against Villarreal. Serie A, I'm not worried about Serie A. I'm just waiting for those chumps ahead of us to start dropping some more points because it's going to happen, okay? We are going through once we meet Villarreal on Wednesday. Is it going to be easy? Absolutely not. Expecting a big win? I'm not expecting a big win, but I'm expecting Juve in a classic Juve fashion to just do enough to get the job done and move on. And then from there in Champions League, we'll see what happens. But no. None of this forget about it, whatnot.
I didn't say forget about it. I just said I'm not really worried about it right now.
We're starting to catch steam. We're doing it at the right time as well. Yep. Obviously, we set ourselves up to be chasing in Serie A. Otherwise, man, I think it's frustrating sometimes to think about too that, but I said it when it happened with all these injuries. Sometimes everything happens for a reason. Okay. I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, and you get Locatelli and Arthur out of all these injuries. And if that's what it took for Max to realize you had to go that route. I
don't know, man. I don't know if an exploding patella tendon happens for a reason, but okay.
Was Caio Jorge going to play in the midfield?
I'm just saying.
Come on, man.
I'm just saying, not everything happens for a reason. It's like
Sure it does. Sure it does. The midfielders had to go down in order for the greater good, and that's Max realizing you should have been playing these two together for much longer.
I think
Villarreal, Juve's going to go through. Okay, I'll call it right now. I'll tell you, Juve's going through. So Serie A,
we're going to the semifinals.
Serie A, I'm comfortable. I'm starting to get very, very comfortable. I think Juve's okay. We've got Salernitana up next. Okay. Then you've got the big one against Inter, which could flip a lot. That could change a lot. And honestly, you're making these faces, Lucci, but Inter doesn't scare me, man.
They don't.
Not right now. They don't. You are correct.
They don't really instill fear.
I picked 5-0.
What?
I picked 5-0. I picked 5-0. We'd go 5-0 in March.
Oh,
okay. Al, you picked 4-0-1.
But you were wrong because we tied.
Yeah, I think I went 4 wins, 1 draw. I said we wouldn't lose in March.
We're 3-0 right now, Lucci.
Oh, Villarreal wasn't in March. Sorry, you're right. It's not that Inter scare me. It's more just we scare me. You know what I mean?
True.
Kind of like
but
us.
Again, if we are starting to find, like, yesterday was the first time in a long time I can honestly say you could see the progress.
Yeah,
mm-hmm. For sure.
If we're on that route, and again, when you're still watching these games and a lot of what other teams are doing, and this is the stats that, like, I rack my brain trying to figure this out. Second in top 5 leagues for shots allowed. Okay. You look at yesterday's game, all these attempts that they're counting, none of them were threatening.
Mm-hmm.
There was very little that actually threatened. A Sensi shot from the left, they end up scoring on a free kick off our back. So at the end of the day, a lot of these things, turnovers, like we are our own worst enemy. Okay. So I'm kind of with you in that sense that, we scare you, when you're talking about that. But ultimately, if we are also growing and finally getting stronger, I see Inter in a different boat. I see them like worried about scoring goals from match to match and starting to have doubts in themselves. And it's crunch time. We're on the upwards trend and they're not.
Yeah, because
So
they're
like
worrying about Milan right now.
True.
They got
I
a
feel
big problem
pretty
with
good.
Milan.
And they're chasing. See, all these three teams ahead of us are also battling themselves, and we're just kind of quietly there and just keep getting the job done. So Serie A, I feel pretty good that we'll definitely be in the top 4. We have the potential to make it extremely interesting, and I think it will be extremely interesting because
None of
ours
those,
and Inter's schedule are the most favorable.
and they don't have any Champions League. Neither do the other 2 teams ahead of us. So
Regardless, though,
that
like
might be
we've
beneficial,
got one
man.
match midweek on Wednesday. If we go through, okay, you add another 2 knockout leagues. Regardless,
These are both home games, right? Because we're home next weekend as well.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
home midweek, home against Salernitana. So no problem.
we're okay. We're shaping up okay. I like our odds, but on Wednesday, I'll say right now we win. We're gonna do a couple quick ones on Storm the Barn. So you guys, if you have questions, throw them in there. I want to see if our panel, if Ant's got any questions for us, Lucci, if you got anything.
So
It's the time change, man. Time change is throwing me off.
Lucci, you were.
I was just gonna say, with Inter in mind and Villarreal, what happens with Dybala? Does he start any of those games if he's available?
Yeah, he'll be playing.
He's gonna
But
be
will
playing.
he start?
Probably not.
He
doesn't start the next 2 games.
Yeah,
No.
I can't. Do you really messing with the chemistry and what you got going on, which is working well? Like, do you break that to fit Dybala? Does that?
Salernitana stinks. They're on the abacus of
about that earlier. It's a tough discussion. I don't really know. I mean, if I'm looking at Max has proven that he's very, very stubborn in his ways. I don't know if he goes away from what's working. Not right away, anyways. So I told you I don't know if anybody slots in on Wednesday out of the guys returning. Probably one of the center backs, if anybody. De Ligt's going to be a lock. And then you have your choice between Bonucci and Chiellini, and I think Allegri probably would do that.
You got to take into account too that
I think Dybala would probably play Salernitana, would start Salernitana, and Max would probably gauge how everything changes and then go from there because you have that Salernitana game before Inter.
True.
Yeah, but you also have the international break in between. So right, you got the World Cup playoffs between Salernitana and Inter. So who knows what's going to happen to the lineup after that? You just pray that everybody comes back healthy. And Dybala's going to most likely have to go. I got to double check, but he most likely has to go to South America. So is he going to be back in time for Inter?
Damn, that's
and all those guys that go to South America always come back with intestinal issues. So he's going to be out for 10 days, like dehydrated. And that always happens. I don't know why, but always. Mark my words, some South Americans will have some type of stomach bug when they come back. So, Storm the Barn, who has been your best or favorite Juve player thus far this season? Impressed you the most to each of you guys? Okay. Who's been your best favorite Juve player?
I got a couple.
Locatelli came out of the gates when so first it was Bernardeschi. He had a great early start of the season, then he had those unfortunate injuries. Then it was Locatelli, but the most consistent for me would be De Ligt.
Yeah.
De Ligt's been
he's also not asking your consistent player, but
who has been your best or favorite Juve player thus far this season?
Best player has been De Ligt.
You the most. So who's in your opinion, the best Juve player this season and impressed you the most?
It's got to be Locatelli for me. He's helped that midfield so much.
Yeah, I'm between Luca and De Ligt. Yeah, I mean,
Danilo.
It's hard to go against those guys. De Ligt's it's crazy. It's crazy at his age. Just how far ahead of his years he actually is when you watch him play. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And Locatelli, I think now we're starting to see, like, I know that you've got a couple guys in our AJC team that swear by him being a regista, and I think there's so much more to him as a player, man. And I'm like, I say it, he blew me away at the Euros in terms of me opening up my mind to him and how he can play, because he can play anywhere across the middle of the park. And that's how good Locatelli is. He could play in any of those positions across the park. So those two guys kind of has to be, in my opinion, between those two.
What did Lucci say at the beginning here? He could have had 3 assists yesterday.
Yeah,
he doesn't do that if he's stapled to De Ligt's hip.
True.
Exactly. But the thing is, he can play back there when you need him to.
Needed.
So he still does his role there. It's just when people expect to get the vision and the creativity of yesterday's match, when he's playing there, it ain't going to happen. It's just not like that.
Alex, you don't make sense to me, because first you're like, oh, Artur, and now you want Luca to play Regista. Were you going to play them both as Regista?
I'm not a...
Alex has the time change too.
Like I said, he can play there, but he could play anywhere across.
But if you want Artur to play, because you need them together.
We got a question from Eric. We kind of got to this earlier, but Eric's asking, do you go 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1 with Berna back now instead of Rabiot? I honestly don't. I don't want to see another formation change or another switch up. I think you take the guys you have and you try to make it work accordingly. Bernardeschi, where does he slot in? I have no problems even in our current setup slotting Bernardeschi out of the midfield. I actually don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with him being the guy that plays on the right side, because he can still do that in Cuadrado's position when the time's given. Like, he's pretty flexible. He's pretty versatile. I wouldn't have a problem with Bernardeschi playing off of a target guy like Morata did yesterday. He's versatile. So I think you can make it work in many ways. I don't want to see a system or setup change at this point, because I think we need to go with what we saw yesterday. That's my 2 cents. You guys can talk about the rest.
I think if we discussed this maybe 2-3 weeks ago, I would have said probably yes. I would have agreed. But
yeah,
I just don't think at this time of the season, you really don't want to start messing with things when things are starting to trend in the right direction.
Yeah. And we've been messing with things all season, right? We've been calling for this. Let's get a little bit of consistency going. So I think that's what. And again, to Al's point, which sounds awful, but in terms of like the injuries, kind of forced us into this sort of formation, which has been consistent. Like it's terrible that it came to that, but it is what it is, and
it's the most solid we've looked.
Yep.
And it's the closest we've had to balance in both phases of the game, right? And I know that people look at the stats and the numbers yesterday, and it's only 6 attempts for Juventus to 14 or 15, whatever, for Sampdoria. But the thing is we took a lot of our own opportunities away by not shooting when we needed to and not making those crosses. So those numbers could have been a lot different. And if you watch that game, this is why I don't dwell on the stats, because they can be so misleading. And yesterday was one of those.
It was comfortable win.
Look at those numbers. Ant and I talked about it in the wrap up to the match day, or the watch along yesterday. You'd look at that and say, "Oh man, what a flattering score for Juve and whatnot." But truthfully, could have been higher for Juve, regardless of those numbers. So yeah, I don't know. I'm with you guys. Don't change anything right now. It's working. It's looking good. Take it easy. So Swarit had a comment there. Dybala and Berna could be game changing. Exactly. Like, I mean, that's don't empty the clip if you don't have to.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. Let's go with that. So we wrapped up Sampdoria. We know Juve now has 7 points behind Milan. Okay. We're right there with Napoli, of course, have matches to play, and Inter has match to play. So Inter will face Torino. Do not expect any. If there's one thing I could tell any of our listeners, do not watch that game and expect anything from Torino.
They only play well against us.
You're putting yourself through absolute misery. Okay?
Yeah, read a book. Don't call a friend.
Go on a hike.
Napoli and Verona. slated to
Drink-
start in about
drink your
2
water.
minutes is going to be an interesting one. Okay, that's going to be an interesting one. Napoli and Verona.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens. Juve, 56 points after 29 matches. Okay, Napoli sits at 57, and they're about to start against Verona. You've got Inter with 58. They have a game in hand. And then, of course, we know Milan at 63 points. There's still 9 matches to go for us. I still stand behind us making things interesting. Don't forget, everybody, Milan's last 5 games of the season are absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, they're tough.
So if you're looking at them right now and you're thinking, man, they could start to pull away or not, remember, they have Lazio, Fiorentina, Verona, Atalanta, Sassuolo to finish the season.
That's rough.
Inter has an easy one.
Rough finish. Okay,
So does Napoli.
Keep the hope alive, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, okay? And make sure you check out stripedheartsapparel.com. They've got a ton of cool new designs. Mad Max is taking off. Everybody was loving that. We have the Trezeguet and GG Legend tees, and there are new legends coming out apparently later this week. Anth, I don't know how Anth got his own They Stink tee, but it's hilarious.
Obviously,
the stickers are gold. Yeah, it's good stuff. We appreciate all the support. Okay, take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekends. I'll be back with some news videos for you on Monday and Tuesday as we get it ready for the Champions League match, and then we'll be live for Match Day Live. Watch along. Tough for those midweek ones. Don't think we're going to make it happen. But listen, post-match podcast on Thursday. Watch along on the next time. Okay, next match, I'll make sure we do a watch along. Ciao tutti. As always, fino alla fine. Forza Juventus, another 3 points. Okay, don't ask how. Been saying that. Hashtag don't ask how. We just keep rolling, okay? You're either part of the steamroller or part of the pavement. Right now, we're the steamroller and we're coming. Watch these clowns ahead of us. Drop some more points. Villarreal, we're coming for you. Knock, knock. We're coming for you. You're next. You're next, Villarreal. Ciao.